Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name's Linda, and today we are going to paint some wooden ornaments, and we've got a snowman and we've got an angel. So here we go. I'm going to just turn the camera so that you can see what I'm doing. And actually, that Santa back there, he's painted exactly the same way pretty well that we're going to do today. So look at this. The sky is the limit when it comes to painting on wood. So here we go. If you could get your work surface all ready, that would actually be nice, because then it's easy. You can just sit down and you can paint and enjoy and not run around getting things in between. So what I mean by that is have all of your tools ready. So I think you have your kit, you've got your brush, your couple of brushes, your wire, your Q-tip, you've got your paints, but you actually, if you wouldn't mind grabbing a few things from around the house, you can work on newspaper if you want, or an old magazine. I've got this little sheet that I put on top of a piece of wood that I can move around. You need some water in a bowl. So if you could grab a bowl with water, you need a paper towel just to dry your brush. And I fold it in four and have it right beside my paint. I do like to have a meat tray or something to put my paint on, but you've got these handy little paint pods, so you don't need that if you don't have it. We've got our sanding, we've got all the accoutrements to make it look pretty afterwards. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of wood, and I like to sand it first, and you should have a little piece of black sanding paper in your kit. I have this because I don't have any of the paper left. I put it all in the kits, and I'm just going to sand this little angel. I'm just going to sand the edges because I like them to be nicely sanded and nice and soft. This is an awful, look, you can see how much I've used this sanding block. You have nice, fresh, new pieces of paper. And I do it on the front and I do it on the back and I do it on all of the edges. So if you have an angel, go ahead and do the front, the back, the sides, all the way around. And you have two pieces. So make sure you do the little round part at the top and do the front and do the back. And you just need to gently sand, smooth off the edges, make it nice and tactile to your touch. And I gave Amber all my snowmen, so I don't have any more snowmen. So pretend this is just raw and hasn't got any paint on it, and I would just sand all of the edges. So I would go in here, all over the hat, all the edges. I would do the top and I would do the bottom. So if you want to go ahead and do that, if any of you purchase this big angel, she's done the same way. So you're going to sand the front, all of the edges, and the back. So I'll give you a minute to do that. And once you're done sanding, then you want to just take a paper towel. So I just take a paper towel and I just wipe all that sawdust away, because we don't want the sawdust on here because it's going to make it rough again. So just wipe the little angel so she's nice and smooth. Wipe your snowman. And wipe your little snowman. So because I don't have a snowman, I just grabbed the lid of a box and I'm going to paint here just so that you can see what we're doing for the snowman. And if you've got any dust on your work surface, then just wipe that away as well. Looks like my sanding block has left a little bit of dust. There we go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take your flat brush. Now these brushes are not crazy expensive, so the ferrule, the metal part might come off. Just push it back on. You can glue it back on, but they work for what we're doing, and they're great for children, great for adults. I always put a little bit of water on my brush first, so we're going to use the flat brush. This is called a flat brush, and then the little tiny pointer, that's called the liner brush. So we're going to use the flat brush first. And we're going to open up your pot of paint, and we always start with the lighter colors first. So if you've got the angel, we can start on the wing. If you've got the snowman, we can start on the body. And if you start on the body, you just dab your brush into the paint, and then you start to base coat. This is called base coating because we're putting the base color, the bottom color, on your snowman. When you're doing this, Try not to put too thick a coat of paint on, because if it's ridgy, it just takes longer to dry. And I love a nice smooth surface to paint on. So I'm just going to take this brush. See how much paint I got on this one coat? I don't have to put my brush into the paint anymore because I've got enough that I can just spread it out. Now, for the pattern on this guy, all you need to do is take a pencil and just draw a line straight across here. So I don't have my pencil, I'm going to go get it. That's why you should have everything ready. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to draw a straight line from this little mark to this little mark, straight across. And you can see that on here, from that little mark to that little mark, you're just going to draw straight across here with your pencil, and that's your line. For the angels, you're going to take, you can look at your pattern, and this is your pattern right here. And we're going to take a line. So we're going to make the head a circle. So all you need to do is just draw a nice little circle or oval or a collar right there. And then see this little bump in the wood? That's where her wing is. So we're going to start from this point where your last line ended, and we're just going to draw straight up here to that little point. And you can see how this is going to be her wing, and this is going to be her dress. Another line is straight across here. That's her dress, and that's her leg. And the hand, we can also just put a little line straight across here. We're also going to give her a shoe. So a shoe, we're just going to do a little, almost like a Nike mark. You're just going to put a line across here like this. So there's a little Nike swoosh. And she's now got a little shoe. So I'll show you. Can you see that pattern on here? The different lines? And that tells us where all our colors are going to be. So for the snowman, I'm going to take more of this pretty ivory color. Oh, I did that wrong. Okay, can you void that out and edit this, please? My line is completely wrong. Let me just go erase that and we'll try it again. Okay, sorry. Thank you, editor extraordinaire. Make this look great. Okay, so to make a line for the snowman for your pattern, you want to take a line from there to there. So that's his top hat. So we're just going to take a straight line across here. And you can see the line right there. So then when you go to take your paint and continue painting, we can put the little face on here. And we're just going to go straight to that line and then straight down. There we go. So you can see how this snowman is starting to take shape. Now, if you're doing this on the three-dimensional piece, like this one, then I would paint the sides as well. And I would paint the back. And you're just painting it exactly the same way. So you're just spreading out this paint, making it nice and smooth. Try not to have big ridges. If you've got big ridges, it means you're using a little bit too much paint. So just a little bit less paint, or just spread it out a little bit more. Now for the people doing the angel, you can take this angel and you can paint her wing white. So I have white over here. I would clean my brush in the water, just swish it around. And then this is where this paper towel comes in handy. You can just dry your brush on the paper towel and then take white paint. And you're going to take that white paint and you're going to paint the angel wing. Now, none of these colors are a rule. If you wanted to have a different color for the angel wing, that's perfectly fine. I've painted blue dogs. So any color is fun to do if you have different colors. And I will also, even though this one doesn't have a big edge, I would also paint the edge of this wing too. And you could even paint the back of this angel if you wanted. So you could do this today with me, and then you could paint the back tomorrow, so that if it turns and moves on the tree, then you've got an angel on both sides. There's a sock that is white too on this angel. So I'm just going to take this brush and I'm going to go straight down that line and straight down the other line for the shoe, and just do that little Nike swish. And it doesn't matter if you go over the lines. Don't worry about that. We can fix it. And I'm also going to do the edge. I like to do the edge. A little bit of this edge as well. And she's got a nice white sock on and a white wing. Now, while that's drying, you could clean your brush and you could do the next lightest color, which would maybe be her face. So let's do that, the flesh color on her face and her hand. Here it is here. So here's my flesh color. So I'm going to just start. Can you see this? Yes. I'm just going to paint. And again, you don't want ridges on the face. You want it nice and smooth. So just blend that out, soften those lines and around the edge. And oftentimes I'll do this and I'll get a lot of paint on the edge. So just remember to smooth that down after you've finished your edge. And you can do the hand. So we're going to paint the hand as well. Straight across and do the edges. And then I will smooth it all down. Finish the edges on this side. And make sure that it's nice and smooth on the back as well. There we go. She's looking good already. Now I can go back to the snowman and I can give him another coat. So this should be completely dry, which it is. And what we're going to do now is put another coat of the white or the off-white color. And it's going to cover that up a little bit more. Now my wood is quite dark compared to yours, so it might take a third coat. It just depends on your wood, what you're painting on, but you can just do as many coats as you need to make it a nice, solid color. So you can see this guy, he's nice and solid. You can't see the wood behind him. So that's what we're working towards. So I'm going to take this color and I'm just going to paint it again. Now, if you're only doing a snowman, it takes a little minute for this to dry. And if you'd like to, you can use a hairbrush and just with very little heat, so a low heat, don't burn it, it'll bubble. You can use your hair dryer and just dry the paint in between coats. There you go. See, that looks better already, doesn't it? With the second coat. It probably will need a third coat because of this dark wood, whereas your light pine might only take 2 coats. So on this one, you can see the wing, you can see the wood behind it. So I would probably paint it again. I would give it another coat of white when it's dry, which this one is. And you can see the difference. It's a little bit better color. So 2 coats of the white. And the paints that I'm using, they're all just acrylic, which acrylic means water base. You can get them at the dollar store or at Michael's, but I like to use any of the acrylics. and I'll show you what the bottle looks like, and then do the edges and the edge in here and smooth that paint out so it's nice and smooth. And this is the paint that I use. Let's see. So I use this one. There are different types. You can use this one, any of the acrylic paints that you get at the dollar store. So there's the second coat on the white. And then you can do a second coat on the flesh color. And then the next thing you can do is you can do the dress. So I'm going from the lightest to the darkest. So let's do this pink dress. So I'm going to pick up some paint and I'm going to start in the middle. And I'm just going to base coat the dress. And base coat just means putting the base color on here. And this is when you can go over top of those lines if you messed up. If you went over the line, it doesn't matter because we can fix it. Look at, I went over that line right there. Can you see that? So I can take the flesh paint and I can go over it and repaint that and fix that. So I'm going to base coat this. I'm hoping this is dry that I can put my fingers on it and hold it. And I'm just going to keep painting. Until I get this nicely coated. Just push all those little bubbles and bits down and then do the edges, do all the edges. So all your edges are going to have a coat of paint. We're going to have no raw edges of wood. And then see where I did that little mistake on the face? I'm going to clean my brush. I'll pick up some of the flesh color for the face and I'll just touch that up. There we go. So it's almost like the clay we did last week. It's quite easy to fix mistakes. And then I can see my pencil line. So I should do another little coat of flesh there. And that covers it up. Ah, she's coming along. Now the snowman needs a hat. So let's put a hat on the snowman. Now I did black just because that's very traditional, but you don't have to do black. If you had other paint colors, you could give him any color hat. You could do a blue hat, you could do a red hat. You could make it, you could do it pink. I think that's the fun part about doing this kind of thing. You can do any colors you like. You can be as creative as you like. I like to turn the piece so that it makes it easier for me to work with the paint and get it in the right spot. Look at that. He looks like a snowman already, just by putting the black on. And when you're doing your snowman, please remember to go around the sides and on the back. The sides, the top, the front, and the back. I kind of like him done on the back because then it's like a snowman on both sides. Look at that. All right, I'm going to clean my brush. What else do we need to do on the angel? Oh, she needs her shoe. Yes, don't forget the shoe. That's done in pink or blue or whatever color you choose if you have other colors. So we're going to base coat this little swoosh. Base coat around the edges. And there we go. That's better. Now she's got a shoe to match her little dress. So once you've got the base coating done, and it might take you a couple of coats, it might take you 1 coat, 2 coats, 3 coats of paint. This you can paint in any color you want. You can do this in pink, you can do it in ivory, you can do it in white. I painted mine in pink just to match her dress. You can see that. So once you've got all the base coating done, then you can do all the detail, and that's where the fun comes in. So let's start with the angel, and let's do some lines on her shoes, on her socks. So we can leave her socks just the way it is. You don't have to do this, but on my socks over here, I did stripes. So that's where we're going to use this little tiny liner. So we're going to grab this liner, take it out of the container, which protects the bristles at the end, and put that aside. I'm going to put it in the water because it's a little stiff. They put sizing in it to keep it stiff and keep it pointed. So take it into the water and you'll see now it's nice and supple. And we're going to use this brush to do a couple of things. We're going to start with the socks. We're going to take a little bit of paint and a little bit of water. And I'm going to water down this paint a little bit. So I'm going to take some water on my brush, and I'm just going to put a little bit of water in there. So you can see it's watered down quite a bit. And I'm going to do some stripes on these socks. And I do a little bit of a curve just like the dress. So I just do a little curve, little curve, little curve. And she's got stripes on her socks. The other thing that you could do is you could give her polka dot socks. You could give her crisscross socks. Again, there's no rules. You can give her whichever socks you'd like to paint on her. Then we're going to take the pink solid with no white, and we're going to give her a little strap for her shoe. So we're just going to go over and up like that. So she's got a little strap on her shoe. Now for the snowman, if you want, you can take your little snowman and you can draw the pattern, and you can see the pattern here. And basically we're just going to do buttons, and we're going to do a carrot nose. So I would take your pencil, because you can erase your pencil if you don't like where you've put it, and just put a little dot where you want the eyes, and some dots where you want the mouth, and then some dots where you want to put the little stone buttons. And I like to do them in a curved line so that it makes him look like he's three-dimensional and he's got round circles here. And this one doesn't have a mouth, and this one does have a mouth. So you can do whichever one you'd like. So then I'm going to take some black paint. No, let's do the nose first. Shall we do the nose first? Yay! Let's do the carrot nose. So you've got orange in your little kit for the carrot nose, and I take this orange with my liner brush. I use a little bit of water, just a little bit, swish it around in the paint. So I've got orange on the tip of my brush, and we're just going to take this brush in the middle of this circle, touch, press, and pull. And as you lift your brush, you get this nice little point at the end of the carrot. So I just touch, press, lift, and pull, and you've got a nice little carrot shape. I'm going to clean my brush, and then being careful not to smudge that because it's still wet. We're going to take the back of your flat brush, so the back of your flat brush, and we're going to put the eyes. So I'm going to dip my brush in the black, and that's the back of my brush. And like magic, I'm going to just put my brush down, and I've got a circle. Then I'm going to dip it again because I want it the same size circle. And I'm going to dip it again. Although these could be charcoal, so they don't have to be. So watch what happens when I don't dip it. They're all different shapes, which I think is kind of fun because then it's different sizes of stones that we've collected to put on this guy. Then I'm going to do his buttons. Whoa, that's a long one. There we go. And if I don't want that long one there, I could probably just take this brush with a little bit of water on it and just kind of pick up that paint because I slipped a little bit with my brush. There we go. That's okay. I can live with that. What do you think? It's kind of fun. And I can always take a little bit of the ivory paint and I can paint back over that too. So there's no mistakes. So we'll let him dry, and while he's drying, we can go over to the angel. Now you can blow dry that and then you'll be ready for the next step, or we can go to this angel, and she also has a little arm. So we want to show up her arm. So you can see it on here with the pink. She's got a little line, and on here we used black. So we're going to use the darker pink or the black. And if you want to, you can just draw. So you're going to continue this line, go smaller, and then back over like that. So there's your pattern. You can see it on your picture, I hope, as well. So just draw that on with your pencil. And then we're going to go into the darker pink for the pink dress, or the black if you're doing the blue dress. And then I'm going to water down the paint just a little bit. So a little bit of water, a little bit of that darker color, just like we did with the socks. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to do a little line all the way around the definition of her arm so that we can see her arm. So we're going to let that dry. And we can see on the face of this angel that she's got some cheeks. And you can even give the snowman cheeks if you do this before you do his eyes. You can't do it now or you'll smudge his eyes, but I used a Q-tip for that. And I took this Q-tip and I just dabbed it in a tiny bit of paint. So just a teeny, teeny, tiny bit of paint. And then I wiped most of that paint off. And with that tiny bit of dry, I just brushed it on this angel. You can barely see it. Can you see them just starting? I'm going to add a tiny bit more, rather less than too much, because you don't want a big blobby red bit. And then after I've dried it off a little bit, I'm going to go again and just in circular motions, I'm just going to give her some nice little rosy cheeks. After you've done that, you're going to take the black and you're going to give her some eyes. And we're going to do that same way. You're going to take your flat brush. We're going to take the back of the brush with no bristles, and we're just going to drop a little dot. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. And she's got little eyes above her cheeks. And if you want larger dots, you can just circle your brush and give her bigger eyes. And then clean that off, because oftentimes I don't, and then I get black everywhere. If you would like to make your Santa have this little brown edge, it just kind of rounds him out a little bit more, makes him look a little bit more vintage, possibly. Make sure that everything is dry on your snowman first. I said Santa, I meant snowman. Make sure your snowman is completely dry, and I'll show you on the back of this guy how I did it. I took my flat brush, and I took the brown paint that you have, and I just pulled my brush through that brown paint. So I only got brown on the side of the brush. And then I just brushed it like this, and I'm basically blending the paint. So I'm softening that paint. And then I'm coming over here and I'm just going around the edge. And you can see how that gives a really fun dimension to this little snowman. And that's what that brown paint is for. And if you get a line in here, you can just clean your brush and just blend it out a little bit. Blend it out, soften it up a little bit. There you go. And that gives that round look. But you don't have to do it, it's not necessary, and make sure all of your black is dry before you do that. So that's called shading when we do that with our pieces. And anybody who got the big angel or the little angels, you could do that too if you wanted. The little foot needs a button, so we're going to use the same thing. We're going to use the end of our brush, or you can use the end of a pencil, and we're just going to put a little dot right there, and there's her button on her shoe. And I think that's all the detail that we have on these girls. This one has a little patch, so I mixed the blue and the white, and I got a little patch, a little nice light blue, and I painted this little square. And then with my liner brush, I took lines, and then I just took black little stitches all the way around. So you could do that as well if you'd like. You could give her a dress that's polka dot. You could put polka dots all over her dress now that you know how to do it. The other thing that I like to do, and you can see it on this angel, is I like to sand the edges a little bit to make it look a little bit worn and a little bit old. And sometimes this is rough, so I'll use that sandpaper in your kit and I will sand it and just rough up the edges a little bit just to make it look older and vintage. And I'll sand the front a little bit just so that it's nice and smooth. On the top, on this little arc at the top of your angel, you can put anything you want. You can eliminate it and not use it at all, or you can put "We Believe," that's what I did, or you could put "Merry Christmas," "Noel," "Love to Mom," anything up here. And I would put it on in pencil first, just so that you know where it goes and how you can center it. And then I would use your liner brush and do that. Or you could even use a pen. You could use a permanent pen. You don't even have to brush it on if you're finding it difficult to do those little lines. And then I just use little dots at the end of each line just to make it look fanciful and fun. Now, once we've done all of the details on each of our pieces, which I think we have done, then you're going to put it together. Now, if you have a water-based varnish, you can varnish your piece and that'll make it a little bit more shiny. You can get a shiny varnish, you can get a matte varnish. I think I did a shiny varnish on this one. I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of shiny. And on this one, I did a matte because I wanted it to look like snow, so I didn't want it too shiny. But if you go to Michael's or if you go to any of the stores, you can varnish it. You don't have to. These are little angels that will hang somewhere and they're not going to be used a lot, played with a lot, handled a lot. So the varnish is just there to protect it. So if you don't need to and don't want to, you do not have to go and varnish it. And then once you've varnished it, probably a couple of coats to make it look nice and even, then you'll take a glue gun, and that's what all of these little pieces are for. So her hair is just made out of jute. See the hair? So I just took some pieces of jute, pieces of string, and I cut it to the right length that I wanted it. So she could have long hair, she could have short hair. So I cut it right here and here and here. And then I took a glue gun, and that's where you're going to glue that on, right there. And it kind of covers the hole that we've drilled so that these could hang together, which is kind of nice. You also got wire, and I've got this wire piece here. And if you cut it in half, if it's not already cut in half, then you can use this wire to go in between here on both sides. So I took this wire and I curled it around a pencil. And that's how I got that little curly Q right here and right here. And then I pushed it through the hole. Once this is all finished and varnished, and then through here and as high as you want it. And then again, I just took a little curly Q with my pencil. I curled it like so. And then I did the same on the other side. And you can see how easily this is coming together. It's so much fun. Then the hair. So you're going to put your hair on there. And you're going to glue it on. And then where the glue is, I took either a little flower or a little button. And you do have a few little things in your kit that you can choose from, or a little ribbon. And I covered my glue with that little flower. So you've got the hair and the flower right there. So I hope that you have enjoyed making these angels and making these snowmen. I hope that you do one and you finish it and you give it to somebody, or you hang it on your own tree, which is kind of fun. And then remember that you don't have to have, you could paint it on just a piece of wood. You can paint these little patterns on just about anything. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you have a wonderful week and a wonderful day. And I hope to see you again next week, because I think we're going to be doing gnomes next week. Bye for now.